This is Dan, founder of RE24 Energy, a global energy startup pioneering hourly matched green energy to align every hour of electricity use with renewable generation. From a humble village in Sri Lanka, Kurunegala, to building a cutting-edge global energy business in the UK, Dan's journey is one of resilience and purpose. After losing his brother to civil war, surviving harsh winters in Europe, and working countless tough jobs, he laid the foundation early. Standing out at the University of Moratuwa and Uppsala University, Sweden, then went on to lead energy innovation across Europe. In this episode of the EAV podcast by Chamara Phillips, we explore how Dan built RE24, the bold decisions and sacrifices behind it, and how his mindset to discover the undiscovered can inspire your own path to success, whether as a professional or entrepreneur in Europe.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Europe Asia Venture Podcast by Chamara Phillips. Today, we have a very special guest, and we will be discussing a lot about the energy sector, startups, and how to become a successful entrepreneur in UK and Europe. So today's guest is very special. He came all the way from Sri Lanka to UK, and he had a very humble start as many of us. So if you are listening from Sri Lanka or Asia, and you are looking forward to become a successful entrepreneur someday, and if you would like to find out how you would build up such a career in UK or in Europe, we hope that today's discussion will inspire you and will give a lot of valuable information for you. So let's start. We will open the door to start a discussion with us after this discussion. Want to find out more details or information? If you have any questions, you can ask us, and our guest today and myself will be answering those actively in this discussion in the comment section. So without further ado, let's start today's discussion. Today's guest is Mr. Dhanushka Tennakoon, the founder and CEO of RE24 Energy. Welcome, Dhanushka.
Hi, Chamara. Thank you very much. That was an amazing intro. Very good, actually. It's almost like I need to record that and then replay to myself every day morning kind of intro. It was fantastic. Really great to be here. Yes, keen on sharing insights from my end and the journey that I have gone through and the journey the business have gone through. And really looking forward to it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, today we will have a very free discussion. I actually got to know Dhanushka through LinkedIn like a few months ago. And then after that, we had a few discussions together and we got along very well with each other. And then we later found out like it happened to be that we are also working in the same energy sector somehow. I mean, I'm employed in an energy-related company right now in Germany. And also Dhanushka has found renewable energy-related business in UK, which was really fantastic for me to find out. So to start, we will start from the beginning, actually, Dhanushka. Let us know some information about your early stage in Sri Lanka. We would like to know that.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so I come from the middle of the country. So I come from Kurunegala. So if you're a Sri Lankan, obviously you know. So Kurunegala it's an amazing transport hub. We have loads of agriculture-based economy, and then amazing for education, and then so on. In time, there are parts of Sri Lanka which is more tourist attractions, and then like lots of things to see and around. Kurunegala has lots of history around it, but it's more agriculture-based economy. Yeah, so that's where I'm from originally. Yeah, so went there up to my A-levels, and then came to Moratuwa. What was that? I mean, like for this year is we graduated. It was like our 20th anniversary for this year since our graduation from Moratuwa. So I went to Moratuwa University about like 24 years ago.
Okay, that's a long time ago. 2001. Yeah,
very long time ago. No, it's actually 2000. It's a very long time ago. So I still remember the date. So it was December 12th, 2020. So that was our first day in uni.
Yeah. That's a special day for everyone to know. So University of Moratuwa is the leading engineering university in Sri Lanka. Those who are studying in the physical science stream for the advanced level, it's a dream to go to that university, I would say. Sri Lanka has a very competitive education due to limitations of resources. I mean, we have free education. All of us are the productions of the free education of Sri Lanka. We are really thankful and grateful for all the people in Sri Lanka for providing us that free education, which is invaluable in shaping our future. Due to this resource limitation, it's really competitive to get into these leading universities, and only the best from the selection exams would come into this university. So I would say Dhanushka himself is one of the best in the country, even from this early stage. Yes, Dhanushka.
No, yeah. I mean, we all obviously, one thing for sure, whether you're doing a job, whether you're doing a startup or your A-level days, there's no such thing called free lunch. Definitely. We all have to work super hard, whether it's A-levels or university. Right now, I work very hard. And then back in the days, in the A-level days, I work very hard. So I won't class it as, how to say, I'm the best of the best or the cream of the society. I mean, I tell that to my work colleagues, I mean, like the people who work in our team, etc. They are definitely best of the best. They are the cream.
Yeah, of course.
But in my case, it's purely hard work. So in Moratua, and then after Moratua, actually during Moratua days, I work in a student organization called ISAC. ISAC is very well established in Sri Lanka now. Yeah, and then like internationally as well. So I was very active in there during my university days. And then after university, I worked full-time, 1 year full-time for ISAC as the president of ISAC in Sri Lanka.
Wow. So you were president in ISAC in Sri Lanka?
Yes, I was looking up. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. That's great to know. Okay.
Yeah. And then I did my master's in developer studies in Uppsala University, Sweden.
Okay.
So I did the master's in Sweden and went back to Sri Lanka, worked in Sri Lanka for 3 years or so, and then moved to UK afterwards. So you moved to UK as a, how to say, young couple with my wife, and that's where I started.
Okay, so you directly went to for the masters in Sweden from Sri Lanka. Is that so?
Yes, after my 1 year period in ISAC. Yeah.
ISAC, okay. So how did you find this master's opportunity back in that time?
Yeah, so I was just going to say it's there's a lot of influence and then a lot of things we did with ISAC related to that one. It's and in ISAC, what we did was also all about the international development things, and then the personal development, and then the business opportunities, etc. So like working with a wider range of things. And as part of that, I got very interested in development studies. Then I was looking at where I can do development studies masters. At least 24 years ago or 20 years ago, it wasn't available in Sri Lanka, so I couldn't do it. Maybe it's available now, I don't know. But there are few places globally that it offered, and then countries like US, UK, it was offered, but I didn't want to go through that route. I thought it's a bit, I would say, less to discover.
Okay.
And then I thought I'll go for a completely new culture, new environment, and then for Sweden.
I see. That's interesting. So tell us something about your family back in the day, about your parents and your brothers and sisters also.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of the family, and I have one sister and one brother.
Okay.
So my brother is the eldest, so he's 6 years older than me. So we have 3 years
Yeah.
gap.
No wonder why you are so cool. Being the youngest child, yeah.
No, I
in
think
the family.
that's definitely stereotyping. I think. I mean, that's my argument.
I see.
Yeah, but then I had a elder brother as well, and we lost him. It's about like 30 years ago now. Yeah, long time ago. Yeah.
Okay. That's so sad.
Yeah. So
if you would like, you can also tell us about the brothers' loss at that time, or like anything. How did you go through that?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we don't. Yeah, it's not that we don't talk about it very often, very in public mostly, but yeah. So a lot of people talk about the war, but very few people have experienced it. I have a lot of my Tamil friends who experienced it properly, and then so personally, I have experienced as well. So my brother was in the army, and then he got killed.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, back in 91.
1991. Okay, yeah. In Sri Lanka, we had a 30 years long, extending, hard, unfortunate war, and everyone in the country usually have someone lost in their family. It doesn't matter whether you come from north or south. Like everyone suffered a lot, and yeah, it's sad, and it is very sad that it is one of your brothers or sisters who you lost. Yeah, it could have been like very, very hard for you at the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
To move on, when you came to Sweden for the higher studies, how did you settle in? What were the challenges you faced? and what did you find challenging to settle in the new culture? I mean, new everything, new people, even the weather is different. How did you find it challenging
In Sweden,
in Sweden?
yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, personally, I didn't see it as a challenge. I just thought for it for a second, but yeah, I mean, even right now, I don't see it as a challenge. I knew I'm coming for something new, and I knew I'm like gonna get everything, like, how to say, as one of my ISET friends told me back in the days, she was always saying, like, discover the undiscovered, cover the undiscovered. So I came with that view of discover the undiscovered.
And
So everything was new, but I didn't know what to expect. And the only thing I knew was like it'll be completely different. Then it's all about how you get adapted to that, and how you move with that one. So then more specifically, and more like I have, how to say, perhaps three main objectives in my head. So obviously I came for master's, so I had to do my master's, complete it, and I can't drag it. So that's objective number one. Objective number two is that we are young and it's completely new country, new culture. We got to experience it, we got to see it, and then how that looks like. So, yeah, so that's all about that.
okay,
Discovered, undiscovered. And then objective three is like, it's related to both in the bow perhaps, but it's more simple, like having fun. So I just want to have some great time. But no means I'm not saying it wasn't, how do you say, it wasn't like walk in the park
yes,
all the time. But for example, I did a paper round, and then when I did a paper round, you wake up 3:30 in the morning and then collect your papers. And if you think of the Swedish winter, 3:30 in the morning in Uppsala, so there it's about 60 kilometers north of Stockholm.
okay,
Like -25, -30 in the morning is pretty normal.
okay,
So you have to put your papers, and then you have to cycle towards your where you're going to do the paper round, and then do it.
okay.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, when you hear it, then it sounds like, oh my God, that's daunting, that's as horrible experience. But when you do it, maybe it's hard, but you're young, you had a lot of energy,
Yeah.
and it's fun.
Yeah, that's challenging. Like when you look at it right now, it seems pretty much challenging and almost it's undoable. But when you did that, of course you were young and you had the energy, but more than that, you had this fun kind of feeling. Also, you had all these plans ahead or the dreams ahead, which kept you gave you strength to do all of these things, right?
Yeah, yes, and at the same time, we can be very simple. For example, like if I recall some of the memories, there are only few handful memories that I can recall. For example, because it was 20 years ago, and so I remember cycling there with the papers, and then icy roads, and because you're cycling and the icy roads,
Okay.
sometimes doesn't go as you plan. So you're not like cycling straight, or you don't like cycle, you just fall.
Yeah.
So I clearly remember like instances where I properly fell off from the bike.
Okay.
So I remember when you do the rounds, sometimes you have to enter into a block of apartments, and you are rapidly like running and distributing the papers onto the door, and you climb up, and then when you're like halfway through, all of a sudden you hear a massive bang behind you. You feel like dong, like a massive bang, and you are like literally peeing on your pants, and like, what happened? So then you realize, no, when you enter the building, you open the door, and you were like running around and distributing papers. You were actually even climbing stairs faster than the door was closed.
Closed, okay.
Because when you're like second floor or something, the door gets closed, and you completely forgot that you entered the building or something like that.
Yeah.
You get shocked with that noise. And
Okay.
yeah, it kept on happening. You knew what was happening, but you can't avoid getting startled when that happens.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much a very interesting story that, we hear all these interesting stories from our elders, what they did when they were young and how challenging was them to build up life for themselves. And these are the memories that we will cherish for a long time after, when we look back humbly about how we came here, where we are today. I think there are, if we discuss about these kind of experience, I think you have a lot of experiences like that. By the way, it's really interesting to know that you went to a university in Uppsala, because I recently watched this Netflix movie series, The Vikings, Valhalla.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. And in that, this lady called Freydis actually goes to Uppsala to learn about the gods which they believed. And I was really interested. I got really interested in this religion and also wanted to visit the place. Is that the same Uppsala?
Yeah. I haven't watched the document. I haven't watched the drama series.
Okay.
But there's only one Uppsala.
Uppsala. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, well, I will discuss that with you later, maybe to find out more about that. Okay, so that's pretty much interesting young life that you had. So tell us about how you met your best half during this time, and how did you come to UK after completing your masters?
Yeah. So I met my wife when I was doing my O levels. So very early back.
So it's a long love story, guys.
Yeah, exactly right. So from very old days.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we got married, and then afterwards we moved to the UK. Yeah. So now we have 3 kids.
Okay,
and
that's interesting.
All our kids while in the UK.
Okay, that's a very successful and very loving love story as well. So this also says that the distance is not a challenge for good relationships, right?
Yes, but also in our case, yeah. So we were both in Sri Lanka initially, and then yes, true. So because I was in Sweden and she was in Sri Lanka. Yes, true. Yes.
Yeah. So that's also pretty much interesting. I'm sure you have good memories of this relationship during this time, because that is a time of the life where you enjoy these kind of feelings, relationships, etc. So, bringing it forward to the point where you have raised 3 kids together and looking back at all these challenges that you went through should be very satisfying for you.
Yeah. It's all life, right? Yeah.
It's all life. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, did you face any challenges moving into Europe? For example, many people who move into Europe, or let's say any other country from Sri Lanka, usually face challenges in migrating, like finding the initial financials, getting visa, like having the visa on the day to go there. Did you face any of these challenges?
Definitely, yes. Yeah. Absolutely a lot. And I was going to say, I don't think we can compare anybody's journeys, because everybody have their own unique journey.
Yeah.
I have loads of my friends here. They all have different journeys. Some had far easier journey than I had. Some had a little bit harder journey than I had. But I had definitely my fair share of challenges.
I see. So can you remember any special people who supported in that?
Yes. That's actually very, very true in life. In life, you will come across people, and then sometimes they give you some life-changing opportunities. And when you crack those opportunities, then they're definitely life-changing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sure. When anybody reflects about their life, I think you can definitely come across some people like that. So one for me here in the UK, it's a guy called Brad Hook. Mm-hmm. So I'm still very good friends with him. I know really, really well. But in the stories that when we moved here, 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, we moved here in 2008. I'm just trying to check my numbers. 2008 December 27th, and then it was immediately after the financial crisis as well. So UK was going through a bit of a recession at that time. Jobs were harder, and we came through a scheme called High Skill Migrant Program.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a scoring method. You score. If you score, you have a 3 years visa, and then you come. Mm-hmm. But when you come without a job, so it's up to you to find a job. Then there's no social security, or there's no benefits for you as well. So essentially, you are up to yourself.
Okay.
And you have the visa. You can find any job that you want. Mm-hmm. But if you want to extend that visa further, so then you need to hit that point system again, and to have enough points. So essentially, you need to have a good enough job that you get good score, because otherwise you won't be able to renew your visa. So that's scheme we came back in the days. But the UK was going through a recession, and everything was hard. So I came and I applied for loads of jobs. I didn't get a single response back. Nothing. I mean, I can't even say how many jobs that I applied. Loads and loads.
I see.
No response. No response whatsoever. And then obviously you need some cash for the survival. You do that. So I started working in a couple of shops, because that's one of the easiest, I would say, book standard approach
Okay.
for if you're new to a country. That's where you can work and earn some money. It was actually really good. It was good that you get paid, but also you are new to the culture, you are new to everything, and it's a good chance to interact with people and get the understanding of like what the local news is, what people eat, what people behave exactly. So it's actually like if you work in a shop, it's like a cultural hotspot because you get to get all the exposure.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I work in there, and then while I was working there for like 3 months or so full time, then I realized, I mean, obviously that's not the end, that's not game, that's a means to an end. So I was still looking for jobs, but I wasn't getting any response. So then I realized the only way to crack something is to go and start volunteering in somewhere.
I see.
So then what I did was I volunteered from Monday to Friday in an amazing place called National Energy Trust up in Milton Keynes. So I
Okay.
volunteered there from Monday to Friday. By the way, that organization is still there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then during the weekend I would do my job job in sense I would work in the shop to earn some cash because I was traveling from London to Milton Keynes for the volunteership. I won't get paid for the traveling, and I won't get paid for my work. The only thing I was gaining experience. Yeah, so it's a bit of a I don't know, like yeah. I was going to say a bit of like a social mobility piece comes in here. So because partly I will say it was possible for me to work 2 days,
Mhm.
on 16-hour days,
Yeah.
and earn some cash, and then volunteer in somewhere without getting any fees, etc., just to gain experience and just to gain that credibility.
Yeah. And how long did you have to do that before
Yeah,
you find your first opportunity?
I was there for 9 months.
I see. Okay.
It's 9 months volunteering. That's not easy. Like, I mean, since then I have been recruited so many people in the UK, like 100 people or so, and then I have got so many people for internships as well, etc. But I still don't see anybody is going through that 9 months time of the phase that I have
Place.
gone through. And essentially, like, you are out of pocket completely because you spend money for travels, and then you spend your time there, and you won't get paid anything at all.
I see. So you were with your wife as well at that time, and
Yes,
you were the only one who was employed in
yes,
the weekends.
yes, exactly.
Okay, I can
Well,
understand
yeah,
how, yeah, I
you
can
know,
understand how challenging it
yeah,
was.
yeah, it was tough. But then opportunities in life comes in very unexpected moments as well. So
Exactly.
while I was in NEF, that National Energy Foundation, so they had the downstairs office, and then there's another office upstairs called, yeah, it's called USCA, but they are all UK's Energy Saving Trust. It was UK Energy Saving Trust Advice Center. So essentially everything to do with energy. And then upstairs people they were more on the working with local authorities to help them decarbonize their local authority plans. Yeah. And then when I was in downstairs, upstairs didn't have a kitchen. So then while I was making a tea downstairs, and then one of those guys from upstairs spoke to me, like he said, like, I actually see you every day in here. You're Dan, right? I said, yes, yeah. And then he said, oh, yes, I'm Brad. I work upstairs. And I said to him, yes, I have actually seen you work upstairs. Then he asked, like, so you work here, but you volunteer, aren't you? I said to him, yes, I volunteer. And then he asked me, why, out of interest, would you like to have a job? I said, of course, I want to have a job, big sad. And then he said, but the thing is, like, job is not in here, not in Milton Keynes, but job is in Whitney. So which is West Oxfordshire, like from Milton Keynes, about like 1 hour drive towards the west. And I said, perfect, it's fine. And then he said, yeah, you could go to the office and speak to Tom Whitehead, and he said, after you make the tea, come upstairs and then give me your email, and
Okay.
I'll connect you. So then only I realized actually he's the CEO of the upstairs office. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Right. So he's upstairs, and then that's how I got my first job here in the UK. I mean, there are loads of stories like people go for interviews, that thing, this thing, etc. So my job was just pure grinding, and then people see that
Wow.
how much work you have put into things, and then people see that if you have taken a punt, if you have skin in the game, they are happy to take a punt on you as well.
Yeah, what an inspiring story that is. it is hard to imagine that you are in a foreign country with the family and you don't have any earnings, so to say, and you have learned engineering very well in a very specific field, yet you can't find the job that you wanted, and you had to volunteer for 9 months to find a contract to get an opportunity to find the first job. And this is also like after following like morning newspaper
Yeah.
distribution and doing the masters, coming to UK, that there is a lot happening. And how inspiring is that? This story is a proof, actually a living proof of like how hard it could be, but how good that can be after all this hard work as well. When you look back, this is the journey. The journey matters. And as you said, discovering the undiscovered is,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, of course, that's a real good inspiration to have in the life, to keep it going and to find the best version of yourself, even after grinding such a long time. The best opportunities in the life, as you said, is found in the most unexpected time. So since you were earlier in Sweden and also that is also a European country, so I would say that when you move into the UK, adapting to UK was not that much challenging from the other aspects, not from finding a job and the financials. But what other challenges as a family did you face there?
So this very broad topics. But in because it's I mean, like we can have a 3 separate podcast series on
Yeah,
the family
yeah,
challenges, right?
yeah.
Yeah. But but to put things very mildly, I'm just thinking. So the challenges are like when it's mostly you are all for yourself challenge, like in the sense you need to do everything by yourself. You don't have the extended family, you don't have the extended friends. Then you don't have that support network. So you need to learn how to live and survive without that support network.
Exactly.
And then the other thing is that so it's not just when you like even when you're raising a family as well. So again, having that support network will be an amazing support and help. So in here you don't have any of that. Yeah. So that's it. So that's the biggest challenge. And I think, and that's only from the other hand, kind of challenge is more like the longer term challenges, not just for me, like but mostly for my kids, perhaps. I think again, very, very broad topics. Again, we can do
Yeah.
a series on these topics only, but I'm just thinking, like as young adult who moved here, obviously we lived in Sri Lanka for like 28, 29 years before you moved here. So you have that upbringing background, but because almost you are starting your proper professional career here in the UK. So then you build your friends, you build your network, you build everything around you. So you are slowly, even though initially you are very alone, you don't have anything, but you slowly build that ecosystem around you.
Yes.
Yeah. But from the very hardcore, you are like British Sri Lankan, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're British 100% because and then you at the same time you're 100% Sri Lankan.
Sri Lankan.
Yeah. And then when you flip that over to your kids, and your kids are 100% British.
Yeah.
And they look like Sri Lankan actually, but they're not Sri Lankan at all.
At all.
Yeah. So I think that's the kind of another challenge any people would have when they start families, when they go through this journey. It's a bit of like a identity crisis for the second generation.
Second generation. Yes, of course. That is a very sensitive topic as well. I'm also going through the same thing. From the kids' point of view, especially when they are little, how they feel about it at the early stage of their life is crucial, and it would matter a lot psychologically as well for them. But yeah, as elders, we need to be considerate about that, and we have to find ways to help them and to find out. In the first place, we need to actually find out whether they are facing any problems in their day-to-day life, especially at the school or in other community areas, whether they face any problems like that and whether that psychologically matters to them. And then we have to address that upfront and immediately to help them, move forward with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really true. Yeah, let's come to the career, Dan. About the career, now you said after such a long 9 months, you got the first opportunity. So what was this opportunity about? Like, what was this position, and how long did you do that? And then how did you move on? And tell us about your job career.
No, yeah. It's actually very interesting. It's I had loads of fun throughout the journey. It's amazing. Yeah. So when I was doing the volunteer work, I was still working as a volunteer energy consultant, and then like why it's consultant because National Energy Foundation is more like an advisory firm.
Mhm.
When you have advisory, all you have like analysts, consultants. So those are the roles that you would have. So I was there. And then with the USCA, so the Energy Saving Trust Advice Center. So when I moved there, again, I moved as a consultant there. So then essentially what you have is that you bring your engineering discipline, your engineering expertise, and then you merge that with energy because we all studied energy as well. But you merge all that, like what you studied or what you knew, into real life applications. So essentially, I end up being a energy consultant for building, like it's an energy consultant for building feasibility studies. So it's all about energy efficiency measures and also about renewable energy technologies, but for built environment.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we did at USCA. I did USCA that one for 2 years.
Okay.
And then, so then from there, I moved to a slightly different field, but essentially from there, I moved to for a new technology called district heating schemes. By the time UK's biggest district heating scheme owner and operator was a company called Coffley. So I joined them after 2 years with the Energy Saving Trust Advice Center. So then, like coming from built environment, energy efficiency, and renewable energy technologies to even though I said slightly, actually, it's a completely new field now. Now it's all about heat networks. So it's all about like how a buried pipe work goes through from building to building, and then how you invoice the people for the usage of heat, and essentially how you provide heat and cooling and then power for the people within a regional geography, and then they're all connected through your private wire network, private wire heating, and private wire cooling.
I see.
Yeah.
So, was there any reason that you volunteered to National Energy Foundation because you was interested in energy from the early stage, or was it because of your studies, or what was the reason?
Oh, no, definitely. From my university days itself, I actually want to do energy. So energy was my key thing. So then I did the development studies as my master's, but I wanted to link energy with the development studies, essentially like things like fuel poverty, and then things like energy efficiency, how to make energy cheaper and affordable. Then, like in Sri Lanka, we talk about a lot about rural electrification.
Yeah.
Those are the ones which really fascinated me.
I see.
From back in the days, and actually even now. So even like I did some work with a charity in Sri Lanka called Practical Action when I was in Sri Lanka before moving to the UK. So that's on energy. That's on fuel poverty.
Okay.
So that's where the energy excitement is stemming from.
I see. So especially like in Sri Lanka, energy is a big problem. Simply the supply and the demand is not matching. So there is a big demand, but the supply is not growing as it is needed over the time. So while you were in Sri Lanka, like, was it the reason that you got really inspired to solve problems related to energy? You said you also did this about the energy poverty in Sri Lanka. Was there any specific reason that you might have got interested about energy in that place?
Yeah, I think it's all about like connecting the dots and how that snowball effect comes into play. And when we were in our early 20s, things like renewable energy and then the wind and solar and then the battery storage, it wasn't trendy and it wasn't mainstream. It wasn't there much at all. It's very rarely available, only for like some rural electrification projects and then so on. Like, so that's actually solar even. Yeah. So when I say connected dots, so in like from my studies days, from my university days, either you could do, we had like going back in the days, right? So either you could do like manufacturing majors, or you can do energy major. So I come from mechanical engineering background.
I see. Okay.
Then I didn't want to go through the manufacturing major.
Mhm.
I thought actually energy major, like, sounds exciting, sounds cool. Yeah, so that's, I mean, if you don't cover like the main starting point or the kind of main dot as such, that was it. So, like going to that energy field. But from there, you simply work on different projects, different things, and then you don't plan for these things. But then eventually, what's happening is that it's such a broad area, and it's
Mhm.
such an evolving field as well, and it changes on a rapid scale.
Yes.
Change in rapid scale. 2 days are not the same. Essentially, from yesterday,
Exactly.
you have a completely different challenges, completely different experience, and you constantly learn.
Mhm.
And because of that, I went from that initial that fuel poverty studies to energy efficiency in buildings to renewable energy in buildings into district heating schemes and combined heat and power projects, and then for merchant projects, and then merchant renewable projects, and so on. So you can keep on expanding forever.
Exactly. Energy is a very interesting subject. I really got interested in this idea about the energy is related to the human evolution. According to this idea, I don't know whether I will pronounce it properly. Maybe you know better than me. It's called Kardashev scale.
Dear, I don't know.
Okay.
New to me.
He's a Russian scientist, and he actually worked in this. I can't recall the company exactly. However, their main goal is to find out life in other planets. He was one of the scientists who contributed in the film industry to provide the scientific perspective for the films. He, in 1980s, as I remember, published a research paper, and in that research paper, he proposed that the human evolution actually is related to the energy, and according to that, we are still in the zero
All
state
right.
of the human evolution. So we are still transitioning from the zero to the first state, and he
Wow. Yeah.
suggested that it will take until 2100 to come to the first stage. So he says that still we can't get the 100% of the energy that we receive to the earth. So from that perspective, we are still in the zero state of the mankind. When we get to the point that we will harness the 100% of the energy that we get onto the earth, like from the sun, wind, and from all other means, we will be in the first state. And he also proposed that we will be at a stage where we go near to the sun, and we will build solar panels near the sun. You see
Wow.
how he explains that is, to go near to the sun, you have to have an energy such that you don't fall into the sun.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. You
Yeah.
beat the gravity of sun. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to maintain all the supplies to there. So you will be harnessing the full power of the sun at some point, as he suggests. So think about transitioning that energy to whatever the planets you are living. He explains 4 or 5 status of the human evolution related to that. That also kind of matches with some kind of spiritual development as well, because at some point he suggests that the energy will be there that we can, divide the body from the mind, and he also explains how it happens with energy. He also suggests that there will be no more incurable diseases at some point because of this energy supply that we have, and it explains every aspect related to human life with how we harness the energy that we receive. So that was really interesting for me. I invite to find out about the Kardashev scale. Yeah, so I mean, from that, what I got was like, there is a huge potential. How much do we have to do related to energy, and how little have we done with energy? So the market changes, the need changes, the technology changes, everything changes, and it's really fast changing domain. After you got into this domain because of your interest, why did you think of becoming an entrepreneur or finding a company of yourself?
Yes, that I mean, it's one of the common questions that I get, right? So
Okay, yeah.
yeah, so one of the obvious answer, and then kind of what's on the surface. I'll actually quickly run through that one, and then there's a bit of a undermine answer as well. And then sometimes in the normal conversation, you don't have time to go through all of them. But maybe we can touch base on that one.
Yeah.
but the obvious answer is that when you work in the sector for a long time, so you know how the sector is evolving, and you have the know-how network and then the expertise there. So I was in Centrica, the British gas parent company, so the UK's second biggest electricity supplier. I mean, at that time it was UK's biggest electricity supplier, and was yeah. So I was with Centrica. I have been with them for 7 years. So like properly, not almost institutionalized, but was getting to that like part of the furniture of Centrica kind of thing, because I knew everybody, I knew how the systems works, and I could get a lot of things done, etc. within the business. So in Centrica, I started the renewable energy business within Centrica, which became Centrica Energy Assets. Like started small, like initially went for like 100 million investment to do some renewable energy projects, and then afterwards got further like 600 million investment in that one. So essentially, like was a key part in building that business. And while I was doing that renewable energy business within Centrica, what I've realized is that the kind of big energy players like Google, so they energy, like big energy consumers, but more advanced thinking people like Google, they were going into the concept of around the clock renewable energy, i.e. saying that each time when you use energy, that needs to come from renewable energy sources. And then that's the true decarbonization of the electricity grid.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so they were on that school of thinking. So then I said to Centrica, look guys, it's actually world is moving towards that space. Now we have built the renewable energy business as well. We should move towards that around the clock renewable energy. We need to build the technology, we need to build the asset portfolio, and essentially everything to cater around the clock renewable energy for our customers. And the Centrica is like at that time, oh yeah, we also believe it's going to happen, but it's going to happen in 2030. So there's lots of time till that. We don't need to do anything now. And I said, but now is the time to actually get it going. So by 2030, when the market is ready for the mainstream, then we are ready. I said, nah, we'll do it when we are there. But then personally, I thought, no, this is a fantastic opportunity to like move fast and then get that ecosystem up and running in order to be ready for the mainstream market. So I said to Centrica, like, if you don't want to do it, so I'm going to leave. And then they said, yeah, absolutely, go for it, do it. And then who knows, when you're big enough at that time, we might be happily acquiring you at that time. That was the kind of like joke comment in there. But yeah, so that was the start of RE24. That was on 2.5 years ago.
Okay, that's pretty much interesting. There's a lot of startup founders that I meet, and also with myself as well. It starts somewhere like this, that you work hard for a long time in a certain domain, and you know the in and outs of that, and you know how the market dynamics work out there. And then you start to believe in something, and that something is so much futuristic, and it feels like a very long shot to acquire that idea at that point of time. And all of a sudden, like, you get all of the guts to believe 100% in that and give a shot at it. When you tell that to other people, they think, we also believe that, but it's going to happen after so long. And they think that we have the potential to acquire when it happens, when we are there, because we are so big, we have the clients, we have the clientele. We can, of course, start it when it is there. When the ground is set up, we don't have to do anything setting up the ground. But after hearing all this, we get that gut feeling, no, that I believe in this, I should do this, and I should set the ground, lead the trail, become a trailblazer. So it's quite interesting that how you started to follow what you believed at the time, and you have actually got successful by this time. It's only like 5 years to 2030 from now. But most of the startup stories that I hear actually ends even without starting or like going too long along the idea, because nobody kind of believe and nobody kind of tell anything support you. And they kind of get demotivated after a few years, and then they stop the journey. That's sad to see, because they won't continue in what they believed in their life. I mean, that's a very fundamental thing of like being satisfied because then after that, like they continue on doing the job. Maybe they are doing the job sadly. When we come to that point, like what do you feel? Like let's first discuss about the easiness. What do you find easy? Is it easy to do the job, or is it easy to find your own venture?
Oh dear, I mean, I thought like things like that would be obvious now, but probably it's not obvious, right? So when you don't do a startup or when you don't do a business, you don't realize it. It's not even comparable. If you do a job, that's a 10 times, 1,000 times, million times, trillion times. There's no number. It's hugely easier than doing a job. Is I don't know, by many times easier than doing a startup. Absolutely yes.
Okay, then let's talk about the satisfaction. So, from the satisfaction point of view, what is more satisfying? Is it to do the job, or is it to find your own venture?
I'll answer that question more in a metaphorically. I can give a black and white quick answer, right? But before we do that, it's like raising a child, and raising a child is not everybody's dream. It's not it's not that everybody wants to do. I have some of my friends who are in my age, don't have kids, and they're like living the life. They love it. They love their life.
Yeah.
At the same time, there are people like me who have kids, and they're not one, two, three, any number of your kids. And then I actually love my life. It's amazing and it's brilliant. So doing a venture is like that. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and it will be really happy without a venture. But sometimes people can be very happy with the venture as well. So coming to that satisfaction point, then I mean I've already given the answer. I guess I should have, but yeah. So it's almost like when you have children, the amount of joy that you get from it, the amount of satisfaction that you get from it is uncomparable. It's a different state of mind.
Yes, exactly.
So doing a venture, it's a completely different level of satisfaction. You're not doing a job.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really happy that you brought up that metaphor. I mean, for me as well, I don't see any other better metaphor to say that. But one thing I want to point out is that in the startup domain, I have found that many of the young entrepreneurs kind of discuss things like, if you get married and if you have kids, then the life is over. You can't, pursue your dreams as an entrepreneur anymore. So if you want to become successful as an entrepreneur, better you do it before getting married than having kids. So I see this mindset from many young entrepreneurs nowadays. What do you have to tell about that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely my experience. Look, I started my venture when I was 43. So obviously after I got married, and obviously after I had my kids as well, etc. Yes, my simple response to that is that there's no perfect time to have have a child. So a bit like that. So there's no perfect time to start your venture. For some people, you can start your venture at the very beginning, and for some people, it can be the middle. Some people like us, after you gain all the experience and then the expertise and then the network, then we start that. So there's no hard or fast rule to say that where it needs to happen, etc. Definitely, but yeah. So in that sense, you don't have to drop off from college, or you don't have to do it as your first job after you graduate from the college, and you can perfectly do it just like I have done. When you have the kids, when you're married, when you have the family, you can still do that. There's no question about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
There's no but. But in between both those school of thoughts, there's definitely a single fundamental rule. I think that my analogy, that single fundamental rule is that whether you're fresh out of uni, whether you're dropping out from college, or whether you are at my age, one thing's for sure: when you do a venture, it will affect. It will affect to the core. Like it'll challenge the system. It'll challenge the foundations, and then because it's throwing you every possible thing that you can think of, and if you don't have strong foundation, then it's really hard to survive.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you say strong foundation, says it's like if you're a family man, so then you need to have your family, your kids, and your house, etc. So they are all pretty much in a solid state. So there's no massive challenges that is going through. So that's solid. So it can carry on its own without you being massively influenced into that one. And then you can focus on the startup. But because essentially, if you don't have that foundation solid, then it's going to be very, very, very hard.
Yes.
And it's same. Then it's when you are like dropping out from the college, etc. as well, right? So even when you drop out, if you don't have a place to live, if you don't have food to eat, if you don't have money to eat, even etc. etc. You need to fill your basics first, and then if you don't have the basics, you can't run into a startup because it'll be an absolute nightmare. So just to, I think, like, so maybe I'm like talking a bit too much on that, but just to emphasize what I was saying, that for me, I don't think there is a perfect time to do that. Any time could work out, but one fundamental truth: you need to have very strong, solid foundation. Without that, entrepreneurship it will be hard for you to absorb all the shocks that it can give you.
Exactly. That is really important. I think if we put it in other words, I mean, somebody might think that if they want to become successful as an entrepreneur, they think that as a destination to become successful. Like they think they will be happy after doing this, happy after this many years, maybe. Actually, we have to be happy at this very moment. We have to be content at this very moment to continue. If we are not happy and content about this moment, then we will not be able to absorb any pressure or challenges from the outside. We will be not able to cope up with all those challenges and hard working. When we have a family, especially, as you properly explained, they are not happy, then of course we are not happy as well. And this will give you additional pressure. I mean, we can't even balance our life and family with the entrepreneurship or the job or career. They don't even level anyway. So when there is something bad with the family, when there is something not okay with the loved ones, nothing else matters. Exactly. Yeah. We need to make sure that the state of the mindset is in a happy state and it is content, so that we can see all the other challenges as challenges to solve, and we can enjoy overcoming those challenges. But when we have challenges with our loved ones and their happiness, there are challenges that we can't focus on any other thing when we have challenges like that. So that's fundamental to have that strong background. And also, what would you say about the support from the family?
Oh yes, definitely. You definitely need to have the support of the family. Otherwise, it's going to be harder, right? So for example, we need to go one step back, like one step or few steps back, right? Then you look at the normal media, or when you hear startup stories, and obviously the stories of like Jeff Bezos and then Elon Musk. You see and you hear all these success stories, definitely. But then, like, more than 95% of the startups fail.
Yeah.
And then it's like there's a massive failure. It's unbelievable. And so we have been going for 2.5 years, and we actually doing amazing. We have loads of fun, definitely. We loads of fun, definitely. But then the absolute truth is that when you're doing a startup, you work 10 times harder, or like trillion times harder than you do a job, but also your earnings are far less as well. You have an amazing satisfaction. You have unbelievable amount of, like, how do you say, the wealth in your happiness, wealth in your, like, things you learn, things you gain, etc. But financially, you are at least in my experience, financially you're not better off at all.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
You are absolutely worse off than doing a job. And so in that one, so going to the question, like, how supportive is the family? Said, so what you don't have when you're running a startup, number one, you don't have money.
Yeah, of course.
And then number two, you don't have time either, because you are like, you have a million things to do, and you're always trying to catch up with time.
Yeah.
And then with that, you don't have any resources either. So when you don't have money, then you have time, you don't have resources. So if you look at the family needs, obviously, like your time, because that's your family. And then also you need to have enough financial strength, because even if you don't have beans on toast on every day, like you'll be starving. So then the family has to understand that we are going through that phase, have a lot of hardships, and then we might have to downscale on certain things, etc. But at the end of the day, we are all working on something that's rewarding, satisfying. And then hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So work through that approach.
Yeah.
The family is super supportive, and we are not working on the like myself or the family or nobody. We're working on the basis that, oh yes, like by 2030 we'll be proper minted, and then that's it. So you don't have to think of anything. We'll be minted.
Yeah.
No. So we are not working on that hypothesis.
Yeah.
The only hypothesis that we work on is that I'm doing this only because I love it, simply because I want to do that.
Exactly.
If it doesn't work out, I can always go and find a job where I'll be financially far better off. Then would I, like at this, like right now today, and for the last 2.5 years, at any moment did I think that I will go and do a job? Simple response is no. I mean, no. I wouldn't go and do a job again, because this what I'm doing right now it's far more greater than any job that I've done before.
Of course, it is far more satisfying. It has a greater cost, so that we would not go back to the job at the moment. But of course, we know we do it for the love that we have for what we are doing. We believe in that. We have the trust. Can actually not for ourselves. Like when we are doing or like finding a venture, it is actually for the others. We are trying to solve a real world problem. We want to deliver the results for the people who are using that. They have the problem. We provide a solution and they get benefited from that. It is true that we will get money, and otherwise it wouldn't be sustainable. But at the end of the day, it's for the whole world. It's the betterment of the world. We are the one who is finding the path to get that to everyone. We believe in that. We love that, and we love the journey. The journey matters a lot. In this journey, everyone around us have to support us. Of course, when they support with the goodwill. As you correctly explained, there is no hard deadlines. Okay, we will be at this point by this time. No, it doesn't work out that way more often. So, of course, the support from the family should be really appreciated. And at the same time, as you said, doing the job is 1,000 times or maybe 1,000,000 times easier than doing it. But it's nowhere near the satisfaction and the happiness that brings to our life when we do the thing that we love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we talked about how you grinded 9 months to find the first job. How much effort have you put in to find out your first client?
Right now in
RE24.
Yes. That's, again, I mean, like all these questions are really, really broad. Again, you can give a very, very short, simple answer, like short and simple.
Of course.
Thing.
Yeah, we can discuss it. Yeah.
But then it's all about the journey towards it, right? So how easy for us to find the first customer? It's harder than you ever think, or it was harder for me than I ever thought of.
Okay.
Far harder. Why it's far harder is that when you're doing a corporate job, you're working for a business who already has the brand name, who already has the credibility, and who already has enough financially sustainable. But when you leave that business, when you're on your own, you don't have that corporate credibility with you, and you don't have that financial strength. And essentially, in simple fact, when you start a venture initially, then there's lots of glorification, obviously, on the journey. But in simple truth, actually nobody cares, because there's no reason for them to care for you, right? Because you don't have that brand, you haven't built it, so you are literally nobody. And then previously, when you're in the corporate world, people are trying to get hold of you, people are trying to get some time with you, and then people like almost like looking forward for a reply from you to your email, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Whereas when you leave the corporate world, when you're nobody, amazingly everything turns the other way around. Amazing, like nobody cares for you. Like you try to get hold of people, you try to ring anybody, you email people, and you try to get a response from them. It's like nothing happens. So it's unbelievably hard. It is difficult. It is tough. Yes, but having said that, yes. So there's no but. Actually, it's hard. What works out is that when in the corporate world, you went through ranks in the corporate world and you build things in that corporate world, build the teams, etc. because of certain of your personal qualities, because you work harder, you always strive for excellence, you want to get the best things out of it, etc. And you always look after your teams, or you look after your customers. So when you bring the same mentality, essentially the same person of you from there into your new venture that you build. So even though you don't have that credibility initially as a business, you slowly start gaining that credibility. When you get the first customer, actually, I think I heard it from Y Combinator initially. It's so true. So when you get the first customer, you need to have a hair on fire problem customer. Essentially, the customer's hair is on fire, so they want to get that fire off. Like, what's the ideal solution? You have a fire extinguisher or something like that. But when you have hair on fire, if you don't have a fire extinguisher, even if you have a brick, what do? You just like bang the brick on your head, just fire off.
Yeah, of course.
So when you get the first customer as a young business, young startup, it's like that. You are the brick. But for the customer, even the brick would do the trick.
Yes.
So that's what you need to find. You need to find that hair on fire problem customer.
I see. That's really insightful, and that's really exciting, and that's really interesting that you brought it that way. I mean, when you have a customer whose hair is on fire, then the solution actually doesn't matter. Even the brick, he will believe that it would work.
Yeah, so, absolutely, right?
Yeah, exactly. So how did you find this customer?
Yeah. So for us, it's all about two things. It's all about outreaching as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like that shameless outreach. But the thing is, like, you're not outreaching to sell something, but you're outreaching to like share your insights, or you're outreaching to like give some value to people. I mean, from one hand, if you look at what I do every day, day in, day out, one could class as like selling every day, day in, day out. All of what I'm doing is selling, but I don't realize that at all. I don't realize it selling at all. I mean, I have sold a single thing in my life. Like, I was never a salesperson. I was always background, and then from the commercial background, never sold anything. Yeah, even today. But then from one hand, that's all what I'm doing probably now, like selling. But I don't see that selling. It's all about value addition. Yes. So the first is that, yes. So how did you get the first customer? Is that lot of outreach, because the more you get out of people, then more people will know about it. So then the second thing is that how do you get the customer? Is that you simply put in the public domain like what you're doing. So then people know about you. People know what you're doing. People realize what you need, and then if you are lucky, or when you are lucky, the hair in fire problem customer, either you reach out to that customer, or the customer just come across you somehow.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So our first customer, what's happened was our first customer saw us on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Things that they have done, and they're like, oh, so that's what I'm looking for actually.
I see.
They reach out to us through LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. So that was inbound contact, right? That's really great. So I also got to know you through LinkedIn. So tell us about how you use LinkedIn from the start of the RE24 to find your first customer, from the point of finding the first customer, and to grow it to the level today. How did LinkedIn help you?
Yes, I mean, lots of people have said more structured response to that, structured answers there. Yeah. Maybe I'll go for like proper non-structured answer on mine. So how do I use LinkedIn? Sometimes it's actually very basic. Yeah, very basic, right? So again, three main things that. So one is that why things like LinkedIn is important. So why do we focus on that one? Then I want to quickly touch upon bit more on the softer aspect of it, and then the third, the kind of like day-to-day things. So like on those three topics quickly. So the first is that it's like why it's essential. When you are a young business, you need a startup, more than 95% of the chance, 95% of the time, you will fail. Absolutely, statistic, you will fail. So the only less than 5% chance that you will survive. So why you would fail is mainly because the technology doesn't work. Like there could be three reasons why you fail. So one is that the technology doesn't work. You said you're going to make flying bicycles, but then bicycles don't fly. So then that's it. startup failure. So the second one is that you make flying bicycles, it flies, but actually nobody knows about it. So when nobody knows about it, so then again nobody's buying it. So then there's no traction. But then the most common reason is like why startups fail is that technology works, so it flies, and then people knows about it. And then the third, actually nobody cares about it. Nobody gives monkeys about it. You have done this amazing thing works, but people are like, yeah. So nobody cares about it. So most time that's why it fails. But in our case, so we build the technology, it works. So then we need to, even before we realize whether somebody cares or not, we need to get it out to people. So then getting out to people when you don't have lot of money, lot of resources, the easiest way to get it out to people is through social media platforms like LinkedIn. So it's a pure necessity for us to go to LinkedIn and then talk about it. So that's it. That's the first one. And then I said, why we do that? So why we do that is also in the second aspect. When you go to the startup journey, it's actually really, really lonely. It's unbelievably lonely. You don't have that massive ecosystem like what you had in the corporate world. In the corporate world, you have all your work colleagues. You go for tea together. You go for lunch together, drinks together, etc. You have that. You have your work colleagues,
True.
and you have your suppliers, and you have your customers. The ecosystem is already there for you, always around the clock. When you come out from the corporate world or when you start something completely new, you have nothing. You don't have that ecosystem. It's zero.
Yeah.
You for yourself. And then if you have a bit of money, or when you have a bit of money, you can have your initial founding team, and that's all what you have. So it's unbelievably lonely. And then things like LinkedIn is a platform for you to engage with people because you're lonely. That's a simple truth.
Yeah.
It's dead simple like that.
Yeah. That is true.
You need somebody to talk to. There's nobody to talk to. Nobody gives monkeys about you.
Yeah.
So at least you engage with social media platforms to talk.
Yeah. That is really true.
So that's the second one. And the third is a more day-to-day. Again, there are lots of structured ones, but in my day-to-day is that, it's unbelievable to think how many amazing insights that you have when you're running a startup, that you learn on a minute-by-minute basis, the insights that you gain on a minute-by-minute basis. So then more on a day-to-day basis, personally, like my approach is I don't follow a strict structure as such. So whenever I have more insights, whenever I feel something exciting, something worth sharing, I just share those things.
Yeah.
It's very much impromptu approach, but essentially sharing insights.
Yeah, exactly. I follow you on LinkedIn and I see all those daily posts that you post, and they are really insightful. And as a budding entrepreneur or someone who is interested in startups, trying to find out the opportunities in a country or in an area that I'm not so much fond of it's really hard, and I feel really alone as well. From the startup point of view, from the idea point of view, from the business plan point of view, from all these aspects, I myself and we as a team feels alone. So there is, just as simple as you said, there is no one to talk about that. Of course, then the social media is the obvious place to go and start talking. And then suddenly we find out very interesting people there who are doing the same thing, who has the same problem, so and so. Then we get a lot of valuable insights and suggestions, and some people also come to help there. And it was really fascinating to find out, like, my God, there are people like us. They would like to help us as well. And of course, the customers are also there looking for a solution. So that's really interesting, and it resonates very well with me personally as well. And I'm also lucky that I found out you because we can see that we have the same interest as well, the same things to discuss. So from the first, actually, so when did you found RE24 in 2022, if I'm not mistaken?
June 2022.
June 22. So when did you find out the first client?
Yeah, we got our first customer. We signed the first customer on 2nd of December, 2022.
Okay, that's pretty much great. So you obviously find out that burning hair customer.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, pretty much upfront. And from that first customer, how much time it took you to find your second customer?
Yeah. So the book standard answer is what, like 2 weeks after that, 2 weeks after the first customer, you found the second customer. Yeah. Now, but in our case, no.
Okay.
So our the first customer took us. So first customer was 2nd of December 2022,
Mm-hmm.
and we signed the second customer on 1st of April. No, actually 31st of March 2024.
Okay.
So
I see.
ages.
Ages. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So almost like more than a year.
more than a year.
More than a year. But then you clearly see you have that snowball effect look like. For example, like we started we started RE24 in the UK, and so in our first customer in the UK, and then we moved to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
We signed customers in Ireland, and in Ireland, as a young company, it's harder to get long term contracts. And then even if you're a big organization, you're really craving for long term contracts. So we get long term contracts from our customers, like 10-year long contracts. So then so from UK we moved to Ireland in there. So now with our customers, so like today's Saturday, right? So on Thursday we got a new contract for a customer in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
And then with our UK initial customers, we have customers in Abu Dhabi and in Indonesia now. So truly very small, young, but a global organization.
Global organization.
Yeah. So that's why I think like, so when you're a young business, you can, unlike the old days, you can actually make a global business quite quickly now.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. So I see that now you, like, how many countries do you have customers from right now?
Yeah. So we have 4, I think. Yeah.
And also Indonesia is like quite far away.
Yeah.
How did you find that customer? Like you are in UK and Europe. How did you find the contract to that customer?
So that's true. That's true. One of our customers, one of our existing customers. So essentially, we always move to new geographies with our customers. We don't ever go to geography without a customer.
I see.
So yeah, whenever new geography, yeah, with a new customer. Yeah, so it's actually 5. So UK, Ireland, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, and
Indonesia.
Yeah,
that's really great. Apart from finding the customers, like, did you find funds or did you get any funds? How did you find your first funds to start with the business?
Yeah, we didn't raise any money as a business. I mean, sorry, any money is a lie, actually. So when I initially started, I put some personal funds aside, but also I thought, actually, I need to be a bit safe on a absolute rainy day, doomsday. Who knows, right? We raised a very small, like, I mean, I can say the number, but we raised a 30K just in case for an absolute rainy day. So that was on our like first week of forming the business. Essentially, like that friends, family, and fools bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I just reached out to one of them and I said, I'm actually doing an energy startup. He has no clue about energy. He has no clue about renewable energy, nothing at all. And then he just like he knew me and he believed in me. So he just took a punt. Even to date, he has no clue what we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But he just took a punt that, so he put that initial very, very, very like slither of money. But yeah, so like, but properly speaking, we haven't raised any money apart from the tiny thing. But we got a number of grants from Innovate UK, so UK government's funding agency. So that helps us to build our product initially. Yeah. So now we are thinking of raising money, but again, whether we need money or like, we don't need money for survival. We have 24 months runway for the business. We can pay staff and we can meet all our expenses for the next 24 months, even if you don't win a single customer. So we have that financial stability. But for us to scale rapidly, then we need to raise money. But we haven't raised money yet, and we are still like pondering about that idea. I mean, yeah.
I see. So, like, if someone is interested in finding funds from the UK government funding agency, as you said, like, how would someone start with that? Like, did you actively approach to them and ask for the funds, or like, was there any competition or some kind of like incubator like that?
Yeah. So the UK government has something called UK government has an innovation agency.
Mm-hmm.
to support all the startups. So that's called Innovate UK. So then Innovate UK has a grant scheme, and it's a very competitive scheme. But essentially, from time to time, they publish what are the projects that they're funding for, and then you submit a competitive application for that, and then once you're through it, and then you can do the project with them. So that's all through Innovate UK.
Let's talk about the RE24 business. What exactly are you doing? What is the exact problem that you are solving?
So we are an enterprise platform for data centers to procure, manage, and analyze around-the-clock renewable energy. We focus on a single vertical. So data centers is our vertical as our customer base. What we do is that we deploy our software platform. It's an enterprise solution for data centers. Then they can see their energy consumption. They can see what are the renewable energy projects available for them to procure. We give that insights, and then we give the platform for them to contract that energy. When that energy is contracted, the same platform allows them to manage that contract, get the transparency of their renewable energy, see how they use renewable energy, where it's coming from, and all the cost and then the carbon data with that, and then the reporting as well. But also it gives them further room for like where they can get more energy, how they can improve more renewable energy, essentially how they can get more green and affordable energy.
Okay, so you said you focus on one vertical, the data
centers.
Centers,
yeah.
So this means all the clients that you have now are data centers.
Data centers, yes.
Data center businesses. So to solve this, give an answer to the question that how do they get interested in getting renewable energy for their data centers?
Yeah. No, exactly, right. So, but if you are it's actually, the problem is common for anyone. So if you're a large energy user, you are sustainability driven, you need to hit your net zero targets, and you need to avoid greenwashing. So from your energy, you need to have clean, green energy, and you need to have energy to match your global operations. And because of all those complications, the space is heavily advisory or the consultant driven, and there are a lot of brokers in the space as well. It's very time consuming for them, and it's expensive. So we want to bring a solution for that one. So essentially our solution is we bring technology where we bring a solution for all their problems to avoid that greenwashing, to get green energy, to make it more affordable, and then to get the renewable energy directly from the generators as well. Yes. So the problem is already for large energy users, and then as a young company, we can't focus on all the verticals because we don't have resources to look at all the verticals.
Exactly.
So then when you look at like who has that hair on fire problem customer, and then who would act quickly as well, because when you're a young business, you don't have a runway forever. You have a runway for a short distance, and you need to take off, otherwise you're going to hit the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you look at the data center sector, you have the hair on fire problem customer, but also they're very sustainability driven, and they act quickly as well.
I see.
That's why you get that vertical.
Yes. I mean, from my understanding so far, like how you build up so much sustainable business, one fact is that you have focused on this vertical up to your strength. That vertical itself they consider this problem as a real problem that they need to solve faster. At the same time, they are making money because they are a big business already. And that's why they have this problem. They have the ability to pay to solve this problem as well. When you are only focused on this vertical as a startup up to your strength, it is easy to focus on businesses to reach out and also to find out more connections in that domain rather than doing everything. I find this fact really interesting because all the successful startups that I have spoke with, they have bigger visions, but they kind of focus on just one thing, doing one thing, or just focus on one customer domain, so that they can, just repeat the same thing again and again easily and provide the service or product they're producing easier.
Yes.
Yeah. That's for me as a startup founder. One thing, when I start to believe on something, it's true that finding the first client is hard, and then finding the second client is hard. But before finding the client, even to come to the point of developing the product, finding the next one who believe in the same idea is even more harder. How was it for you? Like, you got the idea, you got to start believing in that. Then what did you do?
Yeah. So there are trillion things you can do, and also things that you want to do as well, but you don't have that resources and time.
Yeah.
So what I did was when I started working, when I started RE24, one thing that I really hate is that I hate working alone.
Yes.
This is wrong word. Maybe I really like to work with people.
Yes.
And if I try to find a co-founder, so the challenge is that finding co-founder is like finding a lifetime partner. And then you need to go through a dating period. You need to see whether that's a right fit, etc. Because once you go to bed with somebody, it's hard to undo it later.
Yes, exactly.
Before you get to bed, you need to make sure that you are
Yeah.
going to bed with the right person, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then the co-founder, find a co-founder is a journey, and it take a lot of times. And I couldn't afford going through that journey initially. Sole focus on that. And I thought, what I do is, with my available resources, if I have to put something, so that's to like work with the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the initial couple of people within RE24, and then we started working in together. So the first thing was that building the initial sketch that we want to do, and then what you want to do as well, refining what you want to do, but then start speaking to the customers.
Mm-hmm.
So we spoke to customers. We spoke to the market a lot before we started, and so much so we even like contract the first customer without having that for all singing, all dancing product built.
Mm-hmm.
We just sold customer the dream. We just sold the customer that this is a product. Obviously it's not ready yet, but this is a product that you will have.
This is one of the biggest skills that a startup founder should have, that they should be able to sell the product when they don't have the product 100% upfront. What strategies did you use to, properly present the product to the first client in this way? You know that you don't have the product built 100%, and you are trying harder to get the first contract for the business. So what strategies did you follow there?
No, I mean, but in my eyes, it's actually fairly straightforward. So for the customer to initially get engaged, they don't need to have the all singing, all dancing version. So you need to have the kind of like Figma prototype or a working prototype, like something like that, very very easily. Like so we can build something like that very easily. So that's what we had, and then afterwards, when a customer comes, you typically have a onboarding period, and then we work on a B2B space, and then on B2B space on things like an enterprise product. So there is a separate phase for customization, and then that's a well-known thing in the sector.
Yes.
So once you have a customer, you will still have a bit of customization period, and even after the customization period, you would launch your initial product to the customer, and then you would improving the product with the customer as and when you go with the customer.
Exactly. So just for my interest, the first customer you got on board, that customer is still there, right?
Yes.
Exactly. That is one of the main points to get successful at a business, because you don't have the product built and you build the product with the first customer. That is given. I mean, not only for the B2B, even for the B2C, the first set of customers actually, show the path to the proper product. That is where we find the product market fit. And that is how we actually deliver to the real requirements. That is where we find the real requirements for the first time. So that is really important to have the, first set of customers, if possible, for the lifetime.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah. Now we are clear that you provide, you solve a really critical problem for the businesses who are looking for the renewable energy around the clock. So after getting the first customer that you said, you had to set up the real product. Then what did you do? Did you have to recruit more people to develop the product, or how did you manage it?
Yeah. Because it is, we didn't raise that money, and we didn't had that like loads of cash sitting around. Our simple strategy is that always look for customers. Always for the existing customers, give the best service that you can do. Almost like in the Japanese culture, like in Japanese culture, if you are the customer, then the customer has the most respect. That everything is given for the customer. So that sort of approach. So we did So we have the same approach, the same strategy within RE24 as well. And with that, to reach to more customers. And then when we need more people to develop the services for those customers, then we end up recruiting more people. But then coming from Morato as well, like coming from my initial universities. So we work very closely with the Morato University. I mean, I work closely with Morato University because that's one of the kind of places that I found I can work with highly skilled, driven, talented people.
Yes.
And then that's been my how do you say, like recruitment go-to place.
Yeah, it's a treasure house.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, kind of that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Now I see one of the awards that I know that you got was in 2023. I think this was the first post I saw from you. That was I think Alicia Bank Great British Entrepreneur Awards. So tell us some of the achievements that you had with RE24 since the start.
So from awards wise, so we won the Great British Entrepreneur Awards for 2023.
Yeah.
We got like 3 times finalists on S&P. So S&P is like a massive global company. So S&P Commodity Insights. So they have global energy awards called Platts Global Energy Awards. So 3 years in a row, we were the Energy Transition Technology of the Year with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we had some other local, like UK local awards as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we do have those awards, but I think the ultimate award is actually not that. So the ultimate award is that you see your team is growing in front of your own eyes, and you see you're giving an amazing value to your customers. Right, some of our customers, we got them through green energy, and also in less than 12 months they were able to make more than £1 million in savings. So huge savings.
Exactly.
We deliver a lot of value to customers. So those are the awards that we have, right? And then our people, and then pure satisfaction when you get from your customers.
Exactly. You started alone, and then you started to build the team, and they started to believe in the dream. Then the customers come along. Then they become the members of the family, and then we keep extending this family. Is the happiest thing to see. As the metaphor you got, it is just as our family, like extending the family is kind of the most satisfying thing to see. Like it is the real creativity, I would say. So if you look back as the founder, as the entrepreneur, and I would say even from the point of migrating to Europe and to the point that you have come so far in your life, what would you say to your younger self?
Yes, it's always be open for opportunities. Then so having that open-minded approach, and then be curious, because I think without being curious we won't be able to do anything. So the curiosity is an amazing trait. It's so amazing that it'll get you everything that you want to get throughout your life, if you're curious. So being curious and being open, definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would have done differently at that point of time when you look back?
Yeah, it's hard. So like easiest thing to say is that I never interact directly with the end consumer, like end energy users in my career until I started RE24. But in RE24, what all matters is the end energy user, because they are our ultimate customers, right? Yeah. So it's easier to say that yes, I should work on if I've done something differently. So that's all about like getting to know them and then expand my network within that customer field. It's easier to say no, but then when you're there, like you would know it typically. If I'm to give if I do slightly differently compared to now, that's all about work more on enhancing the network.
I see. That is
more.
Yeah, that's really important. So when you look at the UK startup ecosystem, I mean, yeah, it's not so long ago that you started RE24. But if you have any insights about that, do you see any difference from 2008 and 2020s? Or do you see any differences between these two time frames?
Yeah, something like 2008, I didn't have much insights. But then when I started in 2022,
Mhm.
But before I started, 21 is essentially the gold rush.
Yeah.
21, everybody is raising millions and millions. It's unbelievable amount of cash. So like almost like cash is everywhere. Cash is just flying. Yeah. And then since then I started like all the when the like post Ukraine war and then so on, like after that period. So then it's a tough period. So right now what I see is that back in the days like 21, 20, so those days, so not 21, sorry, 2011. So 2011, etc. So we were in the plenty of cash base and lots of cash in the sector. Compared to now, there's like almost no cash in the sector, but also there's lot of hard work, and then the founding team, the founders, they need to prove traction and then get things going. So it's almost like previously it was more in the sense that if you wanna do a business, raise money, do the business. And I think now that's being changed to in my eyes, now it's been changed to if you're going to start a startup, you don't need money actually. You start the startup, try to win customers. Even for the first customer, you might not need cash except for some deep tech, etc. So try to win a customer, and then you raise money from VCs, etc. afterwards.
I see. So
Just change.
yeah. So do you see any difference if you have any idea about the Sri Lankan startup ecosystem right now?
I'm not actually.
I see. So what would you say for somebody who is in Sri Lanka or who is in Asia who would like to come to UK or Europe to find out their luck as a startup founder? What would you say for them?
Yeah, always be open and be curious, and also accept and believe the fact that there's nothing called a free lunch. You got to work hard, and then doesn't matter like who, everybody has to work hard.
I see. So one thing that with the experience that you have, like, can you give the assurance that if they work hard, if they come all the way to Europe or UK, and if they work really hard, does the ecosystem give the fair opportunity for everyone?
That's an interesting question. I don't think that ecosystem opportunity-wise, I don't think it's like you are in a disadvantaged position or anything like that. I don't think that at all. I mean, I personally, I didn't experience it, and yeah, so it's not there. But yes, it's not there. I think what's true is that irrespective of whether you are Sri Lankan, whether you are like English, Welsh, or Irish, or German, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And then even though you put everything into place, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work, it's not that it doesn't work because you're a German or because you're a Sri Lankan or
Exactly.
English.
Yeah.
It's like to do with that.
Yeah.
You just it doesn't work because of many reasons, but also it works. It could work for many reasons. So we just need to work out what's the recipe could work for you.
Yeah, exactly. When I actually go to the startup ecosystem here, what I find out is they welcome people from Asia, and they even believe that the startup founders and the entrepreneurs who come from Asia, they are really talented, hardworking, and try to deliver what they promise. So they actually believe more in the people who come from such cultures, especially in the startup ecosystem. So I just wanted to find out your opinion, like how you feel, whether there is a fair opportunity. Yeah, actually, I would say Europe is the best place from that perspective to be in. Like you get the same opportunity as everyone else. But if you fail, it's not actually because that you are from some country or you have some skin color. It's because it's just the nature of it,
Really, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the nature. Yeah, we talked a lot about the business, your life journey throughout your family. Do you have any special things to add up related to your journey and found?
Maybe my closing remarks is that it's tough. It's far tougher than I thought. It's brutal. I mean, if somebody else explain your experience, I would always have one word: it's brutal. Definitely, yeah. So it is brutal, but at the same time, would I something else? Yeah. And when I started up RE24, I thought I'll give it a go for 2 years. If it doesn't work out, then I'll do a job.
Okay.
So now we are 2.5 years old. Yeah. So I'm not saying we are IPO ready now. Absolutely no. But at the same time, are we a going concern? 100% yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are definitely in this for long term. And then I'll just close it in here perhaps. It's all about it's all about your consistency, your continuity. And in simple terms, you got to be in it to win it. So as a young company, it's all about how you make sure that you are in for tomorrow, that you survive for tomorrow. When you are in it, you will win it.
Exactly. That's so inspiring. So for your customers, if they are listening, we'll actually put the links down in the description for anyone who is interested to get the service from RE24, like to get the renewable energy around the clock for your data center. I would say that's the best place that you can find out. So before we stop, one thing more. Now we know that how you have extended your team. What are the opportunities that you currently have in your team? Maybe for the people from Sri Lanka, or maybe for the professionals in UK, or maybe if anyone is interested in supporting RE24.
Yeah, we always have things happening in three main areas as such.
Mm-hmm.
So one is on our like account management. So essentially, it's a sales function. So we need to talk to our potential leads and then work with them. The second is on the client relationships. So that's all about servicing our existing clients. And then the third is on the technology side, so for coding people, for software, for AI. So in that space.
Okay. Yeah. So if anyone is interested, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah. So the best thing is reach out to us through our website, through our Connect with Us link in there.
Okay. Okay, I will put down the website and the LinkedIn link down in the description. So if you are interested, then you can reach out directly to Dan. Of course, I will be setting up these mechanisms for the people who are interested to meet the guests. Stay in touch, then you will get more updates. Yes, it has been long, and thanks very much, Dan, for joining with us today. It was really insightful, and I personally got really inspired with listening to your story, how you started humbly as a student, how you came to this stage. You probably mentored me as a father who has more experience than me, as a startup founder who has been successful and has more experience than me, and also as a professional engineer. Find the basics, get the basic things done first, be strong to start as a startup entrepreneur. I will keep in touch with you to get the mentoring that I need in the future. Hope the listeners, you also can do that. Like, he's a very humble person. You can easily reach out to him through LinkedIn whenever you have any problem. He would not hesitate to help you. He's that kind of a very kind-hearted and at the same time very cool person. So yeah, let's start up the discussion for today. And we are very much grateful for your presence here today, Dan. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chamara. It's been a good pleasure. So we had a good chat. Enjoyed it. Thank you.